Hey, what's up, Crypto Army? I'm Travis, your crypto newbie, bringing you my experiences so you don't have to learn things the hard way. Just a reminder, I'm not a financial advisor. None of my content should be viewed as financial advice. If you like what my content offers, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, like the video, and turn on notifications so you get notified when I publish new content. It really does help the channel grow and get the content to others that might find it interesting. So today we're going to take a look at ADACash. This was a subscriber request, so we're going to dive right in to this fairly new project. ADACash only launched in the last week or two, so it's really a fairly new project. I want to say mid-October time frame is when it started to launch, and it's got 100 trillion tokens. So it's not the 1 quadrillion that we're used to, or the 100 quadrillion, or the quintillion. We're talking 100 trillion tokens at launch. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the website. So first up, we've got buttons on the top, which are pretty much standard these days for website design. We've got a dashboard, which we'll take a look at in a little bit. And then we've got the contract address, which I always like. I've mentioned it multiple times, is make sure you get a contract address for new tokens from a trusted source. You should be able to trust the website. This is one of the places I would normally go look for it, either that or I would look at CoinMarketCap or CoinGecko for the contract address. They've got the Buy Now button, which takes you over to PancakeSwap. And then they've got the chart, which takes you over to PooCoin to take a look at the different price data. Now, you'll notice there's no how to buy. Again, that's missing here. It never covers specifically how to buy this. Now, if you've watched my video on buying BEP20 tokens, that would walk you through the entire process. It uses Evergrow coin as the coin used for the video, but the principles are the exact same. There's no difference. And actually, you're going to notice that there's a lot of similarities between this project and Evergrow coin. I want to put the link for that video right here in case you're interested in buying this or any BEP20 token in the future. That video will work for all BEP20s, and it also happens to cover buying in places where BEP20 isn't allowed, say Texas, Louisiana, New York, those locations where you can't buy Binance. It covers how to do it in those places as well. And then I also briefly explain how to sell. Now for this part, this is relevant because it tells you that the rewards after you buy the token are distributed every 60 minutes. I don't really see a lot of value added here. Now this section here attempts to explain what to do. This part is kind of helpful because it tells you you're going to have to add it to your wallet because it's a brand new token. But really this is kind of wasting space. They could do a better job of explaining how to buy BEP20 tokens or specifically ADACash in this particular section. I think that would be a better use of the space. And let's keep going down. And like many tokens that are out there, you get reflections, and this time you're not getting reflections in the original token. So if you own ADACash, you're not getting ADACash back. So by terminology, they would call them rewards because you're going to get ADA back, which is similar to a lot of other new tokens out there, like Evergrow coin is doing this exact same kind of thing where they're getting Binance pegged USD. The difference being is that ADA is not pegged to $1, so it's going to increase in value over time, kind of like a couple of the other projects out there that give you Ethereum or Bitcoin. There's a whole bunch of projects that are giving you rewards in other tokens. And I also like the idea behind getting ADA back. ADA is an interesting project all its own that has taken off, but the fundamentals, or at least the adoption, hasn't exactly gone according to plan for Cardano, but that's a separate video entirely to talk about Cardano. So let's keep going down. This area is more for first-time investors, explaining that they're going to have a safe token, don't worry about rug pulls, and a lot of this is relevant. I mean, it's good that it's on there, but for the purposes of fundamental analysis, it's not necessarily something that we need to know because the audit and other things are more relevant than what the developer of the website says about the token. So we'll keep moving on. And here we start getting into some interesting stuff as far as the tokenomics. Now, this one has a 15% fee. So if you've been following me on Evergrow coin, it's a little bit higher. 10% goes back, so instead of 8%, you've got a little bit of an increase there. 2% to marketing and 3% to liquidity. I suspect, like a lot of other tokens, 3% liquidity is probably going to cause some problems potentially on buys and sells. And as we said earlier, every 60 minutes you're going to get redistributed, which is very similar again to Evergrow coin, if you are following that one. But it can take a little bit longer. And let's keep going. They've got their white paper. We'll cover that in a few minutes. And then they've got the roadmap. Now, here's the interesting thing on their roadmap. They're not really doing anything. Launch and marketing, listings and marketing, development of a lottery system for ADACash and integrated burn function. It's interesting. I'm not exactly sure what that is, so we'll have to take a look at the white paper and hopefully it'll explain it. How much you want to bet? Do you think it'll explain it or do you think it won't? But that's really the only thing that is on their roadmap, is to develop this lottery system for ADACash with an integrated burn function and a raffle system. Other than that, it's all marketing. All right, let's keep going. So the team. One person doxxed. He spends a lot of time at the gym. And the rest is not. And I would argue that the knowledge manager is not as important as these other individuals. So I would call this a partially doxxed team, because the ones that really matter the most haven't doxxed themselves. Not to split hairs here, but does anybody really think that tracking this person down if something goes wrong is going to be helpful? Tracking these individuals down and ensuring that they can't ever work on another project again, at least not doxxed, that's important. And again, if he's the founder, you would kind of think that this was an important project to him, and he would stand behind it to the point where he could show his face. And again, I don't look at Telegram as part of these videos, so if he's on Telegram, that's great. I always get a lot of comments, oh, they're on Telegram and they've doxed themselves, and they continually talk about doxing themselves. That's nice. And when they post it on their website, that'll actually mean something. And right now they haven't. So we'll keep going. I like the frequently asked questions section. Not a lot of information in here, but it does help explain, for example, what is slippage. I explained that in my video as well that I mentioned earlier. And then it just kind of, if you paid attention at the top of the website on the way down, you would probably answer most of these questions, but not necessarily the slippage. And then it actually provides contract addresses, which I also appreciate. I spent a lot of time trying to figure out certain contract addresses. So let's take a look at the white paper. Again, the contract address is on here. That's good. I didn't get a virus like a previous one that I was looking at. So that's always nice not to have a virus pop up. And then some basic, what are their goals, objectives, which is all interesting. This is all good information for initial investors, especially ones that haven't been active in the crypto space. And then it just kind of walks through the tokenomics. Again, it's a lot of the same information from their website. Now I'm going to emphasize this part here. I glossed over it on their website because I was going to talk about it inside of the white paper. You must hold 200 million or more of the ADACash in order to get dividends, which right now, that means your minimum buy in order to get dividends is right around $60 or $70. What about in 2 months? What about in 6 months or a year? How much are you going to have to spend in order to qualify for dividends? I suspect this is going to be a problem for this token long term, because once the price gets up, who's going to want to buy this if they can't afford to buy it and get the actual rewards back? That could be a really big issue for this particular token. My guess is that they'll probably have to modify the contract to make this not an issue, because why would you buy this? What else does this token really give you other than potentially raffles and that part, which again, if you guessed it's not in here, you'd be right. I didn't see it in the white paper. I didn't see a mention of burn anywhere in this thing or the raffle. So there's some information on their website that isn't explained very well there, and it's not covered on their white paper either. As of right now, the utility of this thing is really nothing, other than initially you'll probably get some decent rewards from people that are buying it without having done any research. I don't know what this one's long-term prospects are going to be. But let's keep going. It does do the auto distribution just like we talked about. And then it's just kind of a visual of their tokenomics, general information about redistributions and how that works. And the rest of it is kind of just the same old stuff. There's not really anything unique or anything else. If you're first time looking at any kind of crypto, this is all really good information to go through. But most of it's the same stuff from their website. I do like that they have a link to the liquidity and that they mentioned that it's got a lock. I like their anti-dump logic 500 billion tokens is a lot of tokens, especially when the price gets up there. I mean, that could be millions upon millions of dollars when the price is up there. Because right now you can get 60 or 70, gets you about 100 million. So what do you think it is for billions? And if the price jumps, you could very easily get into the millions of dollars. And that's pretty much it for the white paper. Now let's go ahead and jump on their security audit, because this one does have a security audit. So TechRate did their audit and they only found one issue. So we'll go ahead and take a look at that issue quick. So for issues, you can see that they had a block gas limit, and it was a low issue. It's a very minor thing. Out of gas. Basically, the addresses can't be a certain length or they'll run into out of gas issues. And that's it. That was the only problem. So with that particular problem, I would give them a 95 for the assessment process for having that particular issue. It's not a high severity issue that you have to worry or critical. So that's a good audit. It's not a perfect score, but it's pretty good. That's definitely a solid score, and I think there's been some other ones I've reviewed that have had that particular issue, and I want to say I give them between a 90 and a 95 as well. So we'll give them a 95. Now let's go ahead and take a look at this dashboard, because it's going to look familiar. Now, I like the interface, but a lot like the swaps, there's a similarity to others that are out there. I like the addition of the calculator, and I like the information that they provide, and I like that the socials are there, kind of like I did on some other ones that I've looked at as well. It's a good website. They've done a pretty good job with building it. It looks good. Now that's pretty much it. They're loaded into Lunar Crush, but there's not enough data there to generate the Galaxy score yet, so they don't have a score for that. Let's go ahead and jump over to our fundamental analysis sheet now. All right, so for their fundamental analysis, website was appealing, spelling, no issues found, no grammar issues. I didn't see any website issues of any kind. Their team is listed, sort of. They have a contact method at the bottom of the website. There was an email address. Their security audit is listed. Price is listed in the form of the button that you click. So same thing with market cap. They don't have how to buy videos or a walkthrough per se. They've got less than useful information in one section of the website that kind of talks about how to buy, but it's not what a new person would need in order to be able to buy this particular token. They do have an audit, and I gave 95 points for that. They have a roadmap. It's current. It's definitely not unique. It doesn't have a lot of information on it. It doesn't indicate any kind of a use case or really anything at all. It may be an interesting concept with the raffle, but I'm not sure that that's necessarily a reason to buy ADACash. I didn't see any spelling or grammar issues for either the white paper or for the roadmap. They have a white paper. It's current. I like the white paper. It's a little bit different formatting, but I like it. It's interesting, and they have some good information on there that some others don't, so that's good. Development team is not known. Now, again, they have the knowledge manager on there, which is helpful. It's interesting that they put him on there, but nobody else wanted to dox themselves. But that isn't the development team. That's one person who probably maintains the website and works in some of the Twitter feeds and that kind of stuff. That's my guess on what they're using the knowledge manager for. It's not exactly what they're supposed to do, but that's probably what they're using them for. And then you've got a professional team. I did look through their Twitter and I didn't see any issues there. They don't have a Discord, so there wasn't anything to look at there. But they do seem to have a professional team from what I could tell. They have a token, no blockchain, no NFTs, no wallet, no exchange, no swap, no game software or country recognition or legal tenders. So very minimal on the use cases at this particular juncture. They do have quite a few holders for how new the token is, but it has pretty much stalled at this point. It hasn't really grown a lot. I want to say they had about 10,000 in the first week and a half, right around there. But I haven't seen a lot of growth out of them since. I actually started looking at this a couple days ago when somebody asked about it. I just haven't had a lot of time to get into it, and I didn't see a lot of growth in that period of time. No Galaxy score, but it is on Lunar Crush, which is common for new projects. It takes time to accumulate data. Dedicated YouTube channels. Now, I gave them a 7 out of 10 for this. There are YouTubers covering ADACash, and some of them are YouTube content creators I've watched in the past. So they're starting to build up a base of YouTube content creators, but there's not a lot of them, and it's definitely not to the level that some others that have start off with. They have Twitter, they don't have Discord, and their target audience is very minimal. I mean, who are they really targeting? And it wasn't exactly clear. If I could sum it up, I would say that they're targeting people that have experienced rug pulls and don't want to get rug pulled because some of the content specifically addresses that. Otherwise, it doesn't have a real strong target audience other than just to exist. It kind of goes into their use case. It's really just to compete against other projects that have done something similar and adding their own twist in the form of ADA in your rewards. So it's not a very strong project, and that results in an F, which if you haven't watched one of my videos, it has nothing to do with the quality of the token. It's about the risk assessment. The team isn't known. The security audit is done. It's got very little issues. So I don't think from a getting hacked perspective that it's necessarily going to have problems. But whenever you don't have a team that stands behind your project, you got to ask the question, why? What is the reason this team doesn't want to announce who they are? Now, a lot of teams like this whole, I'm going to wait until a couple weeks pass and then we'll dox. Okay, in a couple weeks, maybe it'll be better for an investment because the risk will be a little bit lower. Because if we switch the development team from no to yes, you get to a D. Because again, there isn't a strong use case or target audience for this particular project. You read through it and it really just seems like it exists for the purpose of existing. We've got thousands of tokens to choose from. If you're not going to be unique and distinguish yourself with a specific use case, it's going to be a real challenge to adopt this particular token. Now, it might blow up tomorrow. I don't know. This is, again, just more of an indicator of risk, not necessarily whether it'll be successful or not. That's for us to determine because we're the ones that are going to buy this. But this is a high-risk project. I won't necessarily be investing in it. I like the idea of getting ADA back. Although ADA's been growing, it doesn't necessarily have a lot of organic growth. They're actually, a lot of the projects are kind of linked back specifically to Cardano, so it's an interesting case to take a look at. Unlike Solana, which is actually growing and people are actually building on that blockchain, there hasn't been a lot of organic growth in Cardano. So that's a consideration as well. And that's always a problem with tying yourself to anything other than a stablecoin or your own token. You're relying on two tokens to succeed, ADACash and ADA. What if ADA fails? What if ADACash fails? At least you'll fall back on your ADA at that point. But that's the problem with these tokens that like to split it up like this. Binance Peg USD is a stablecoin. It's not going to decrease in price unless the dollar does. And even then, the price isn't necessarily going to change. It's the buying power of the dollar that's going to change. So that's my fundamental assessment for this particular token. I'll continue to monitor this when the team does dox, because I suspect that it's going to be like a lot of other projects that are going to say, yeah, we're going to dox ourselves eventually and we're going to make it into a big event. I'll let you know if those things happen. Like I've mentioned in some other videos, I've invested in some projects that have an F because they were unique at the time. And again, there's a lot of the projects like that, but I didn't invest as much. And maybe that's the strategy you want to look at here, but you won't get any reflections if you don't have 200 million. So just keep that in mind when you are deciding if you want to invest in this. Is if you want the ADA back in rewards, you have to go above 200 million, which at the time of this recording was about $60. If the price goes up, then definitely want to take a look at that. I hope you enjoyed this content. Let me know in the comments. Is this a project that you're planning on investing in? I'm curious. Or if not, what made you decide not to? What were the factors that mattered to you when you were taking a look at this project? If you like what my content offers, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like the video, and turn on notifications so you get notified when I publish new content. Until next time, stay strong with those dominant hands. Crypto Newbie here to tell you how you can get $2,340 in free stocks. All the links I use in this video are in the description. Sign up for Webull and get 2 free stocks valued up to $2,300. Your first stock is free automatically. Deposit any amount and you get your second stock. Deposit 1 penny and you get your second stock. Total value could be up to $2,300. Generally $5 per stock is what you get. Next we have block fee. Get $10 in Bitcoin just for signing up. Read the fine print. I've got a rewards account. You'll get $40 in Bitcoin, as will I. So you know exactly what I'm going to get and what you're going to get. You do need to deposit $100 to get your $40 in Bitcoin. That's the overview how to get $2,340 just by signing up for accounts.